And we're back with some more Star Trek for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Cinema Color Podcast with Butch Rob. And we are once again going back to one of our favorite channels. Is that a Trek in your pocket? Rob, for 300, is that a Trek in your pocket?
Well, as my wife Darlene can attest, there's hardly ever a Trek in my pocket. But yes, it is a Trek. Today it is a Trek in my pocket. And, I kind of miss I was listening to our podcast yesterday, but I was enjoying the COVID NPR intros. We're going to have to sneak one of those in. No, I'm doing good. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah, the COVID intros were great. It's like, now that we're doing books, we're going to be doing the literature review of, it's way less, when you're doing TV shows or movies and music and stuff, you go, hey, I'm the hype man, but literature, it feels like, this is tweed-wearing, bow tie, and coiffed, yeah. But it's no Star Trek when it comes down to it. And today, as you know, we have been going through the pocket novels randomly, 1 through 50, doing a dice thing, the dice of doom and destiny and death, randomly selecting one of the first 50 pocket book Star Trek novels for us. Today, the dice have brought us number 8, Blackfire, by Sonni Cooper from January 1983. Rob, do you remember this one?
I do remember this one. This is the spoiler, Spock's a pirate book. And I remembered it, and I remembered liking it. I also remember that my mom had, because my mom was an amateur painter.
Yes.
And she's alive. I don't mean to make it sound like she died.
Is she still an amateur painter, though?
Yeah, she's still an amateur painter. And she made me, after I moved to Wenatchee with my dad, she painted me the cover of this book. And I had it for a long time. I wish I still did. But she did a faithful representation of the cover of this book with Spock looking cool and wearing his black cloak and all that. So I also remember the cover. And, this is about when... I think this one came out right after Wrath of Khan, right?
January of 83 would have been right after Wrath of Khan. There might have been one or two between.
So this is really where the pocketbooks are starting to catch on. And, I'm 13. That's the right age to be discovering some of these books and stuff. So we're about to hit the wheelhouse here. So, I do remember this one. What about you? Do you remember Blackfire?
It's weird that I don't. I like to tell myself it's probably 95% chance I read it. I didn't own it, so there's a chance I didn't read it either. I mean, there were about 7 that I didn't own of the first 50 when we started this that I went out and purchased them. Some of them I think I owned and might have lost or loaned away, or I might have borrowed them from you when I read them the first time and gave them back to you. But I did not remember this one. It feels like I'd have remembered Pirate Spock. And I did not, and so that's okay, because that way it's a little fresh and new for me. It's not does it hold up to my memories? Because like you have, I was like, just does it hold up in general? So I think this was a new one for me. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny, Butch, because you somehow figured out to get our little labor of love here to a wider audience. So I was listening to it on Apple Music yesterday, and for the Bantam ones, the early ones from the 70s. And, they were very Spock-centric. And so I was like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Here's a little fantasy about Spock being a romantic pirate, among other things.
Well, I'm glad to say that because I've come up with a theory. I mean, I want to espouse that theory, and I think this book fits in that theory. I think for a while, we've talked in the past about how the early Star Trek fandom post-series ending was kind of like the newsletter fandom, right? The ones that are like, They create a zine, there's some fan fiction going around and stuff like that. The conventions were still a little ways off. When they started doing conventions, they became a big thing too. But it was I get the sense it was a very insulated group. When you go back and look at the Bantam books, there were 14 of them. And I think there were 9 authors among the 14 books. We had several repeats, right? Kathleen Sky did too, and Myrna Culbreth and Sandra Marshak did too.
Don't bring up Myrna and Sandra.
And Joe Haldeman did two, and his brother Jack did one. It's like, and then you realize that one of the guys who did
Gordon
Eklund did two, and then one guy did one novel, but then he was married to Kathleen Sky, who did two novels. And you're like, oh, this is a very insular group, right? And I get the sense that today's author, who's Sonni Cooper, Sonni with an I, she's a woman, age 91, still with us, living in New Mexico, by the way.
Road trip.
There you go. She was one of the early ones. The foreword of this book, you will notice, it was written by Theodore Sturgeon, famous sci-fi author who is kind of a member of that early Star Trek. I can't remember which Star Trek episode he wrote, or if he wrote any of them, but was going to write some. I think he wrote one of them, but I can't remember which one. And I'm going to feel better about that because Theodore Sturgeon quotes Sonni Cooper as being one of those people who owned all 73 episodes on. She had taped all 73 episodes off the television. I was like, "There's 79." 79, Theo. Buddy, you were in the studio, some of these things. You should know that. It's fine.
Yeah. So, that's good stuff.
But with all that stuff, and of course, Sonni Cooper also for 3 years ran the William Shatner Fan Fellowship. So she was part of the whole mailing around, keeping the dream alive. And
she's got some street cred. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense that if they were obsessed with Star Trek in the Bantam books, and she was kind of like part of that same early community, but didn't write one. This is her only published novel. So she never published one before this one, and never published one after, like in any form, not like in any genre. Whereas we've seen a lot of these guys that won Saturns and Nebulas and Hugos for other works besides Star Trek, and also wrote Star Trek novels.
Yeah, well, Butch. That's interesting that she was the part of the founder of the William Shatner Star Empire, or whatever he said.
Fan Fellowship, yes.
Fellowship of the Ring or whatever. Yeah, because there's like no Kirk in this book. It's like Spock.
Yes.
Spock,
oh yeah.
Which is fine with me and especially at age 13. You remember this, Butch? I was a Spock guy. I'm still. I've come around on Kirk. I love me some Kirk now, but at the time I was Spock, more Spock. Give me Spock. It's all about Spock, and so that might be another reason why I was like, oh, this is a great book when I read it. But to be like a William Shatner fan and have like no Captain Kirk to speak of in the book is kind of a little surprising. Maybe she was a late bloomer as well.
Yeah, I get the strong sense that she's definitely a Spock-centric fan. As again, we cannot fault fans in general and female fans especially for being pro Spock. I mean, everybody assumed Shatner was going to be the breakaway star in this, and it ended up being Nimoy. A little bit of both, but Nimoy was the surprise one, and it caused a little bit of tension and stuff like that. And and so they kind of jostled back and forth for supremacy, and eventually they were treated as like co-leads, rightly so.
Yeah.
But having her write about, I will say this: it's funny because I was about to say at least they didn't have duplicates of Spock like they did in the first two novels that came out, and then of course a duplicate Kirk in the third novel. But then of course, yeah, they don't make duplicates, but they kind of like have they're playing shenanigans with which one of them is the real one, kind of a thing, even though they're in disguise. Well, so I'll give them credit for at least being a more realistic version of the duplicate thing, right? It's all a ruse and stuff like that. But, we've had some stories and we've had some novels that start with a bang. I think the biggest bang we ever had was when you start with the Price of the Phoenix with Kirk dead already before the book starts. But in this one, it's a little, not quite that bad. It's post-explosion. The bridge has exploded.
Well, at least in this one, the bridge exploded. In the Phoenix, there was explosions everywhere, but I don't want to get into it.
We don't want to get into it. That's right. So I wrote it after a brutal terror attack that destroys the Enterprise's saucer section, because we'll get there. Spock and Scotty go on an unsanctioned mission to investigate, and they're captured by enemies. And then they're rescued, they're fired, they're canceled, and and it goes on and on and on. So yeah, so things get bad for them is what it is. But it felt like the one episode it feels like is, you remember Tomorrow Is Yesterday, when they hit the mini black hole and they go back in time to 1960s Earth. And when the episode opens and they're like picking themselves up off the floor on a bridge with no power, kind of a thing. That's what this reminded me of. I thought and that's the mission, right? So there is no like official mission on here for the most part. It's just kind of stuff happens and they react to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's an attention grabber. You're not reading the first couple pages and going, nothing to see here. I'm putting the book back down. You're intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in terms of because we have grievous injuries to Spock and to Kirk, they do this kind of fun jump forward, which by the time Kirk comes out of his kind of induced coma to heal himself up, he finds out late in the game, oh, by the way, you don't have the same chief engineer or first officer anymore. Oh, you're wondering who that guy is over there? That's Leonidas. He's your new first officer. And that guy's your new science officer. And that guy's your new chief engineer.
That reminded me of the motion picture.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. Yeah,
Kirk walking around going, who's on the who works here? Where's the break room? What's your name, Miss? Yeah.
So we've got a lot, and the way so there's a lot of new crew members to get to know. There's a lot of new side members because we get Klingons and Romulans in this one, which is fun. Although the Klingons do not hang around for long, thankfully. So they're there. So we meet several of those. We meet some pirates that are neither Klingons nor Romulans. I suppose that's also fun. And then for the most part, our crew gets to do different things. Scotty probably has more to do in this novel than he has in any other novel we've done yet so far, right? I mean, he's like, so that's kind of cool. It's almost it's Spock-centric, but yeah.
Your complaint about Chekhov barely being a member of the crew is probably still legit.
Yeah. I wrote her, Chekhov, and Chapel don't have much to do, but they're there. McCoy and Mbega are basically dealing with all the injured people.
Do we have a cowl? Do we have a cowl sighting?
We have not. I don't know that we've seen Lieutenant Kyle in any of the books. It's weird how that guy was in several episodes and he just doesn't exist. He was a character that didn't interest them, I guess. Whereas Mbega is in everything.
But we did the motion picture, right?
We did, yeah. And then he's in Star Trek 2, of course, yes, as well. So, so there's that. So, so I think what if we're going to focus on the villains, the real villains. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought of something. Get the podcast off to a strong start with me interrupting you. But
no, it's great.
You remember that guy that was in like every episode and never spoke and wore the blue shirt and just stood there?
Yeah.
We need to write a novel about that guy.
Well, there's like three of them, right? There's apparently what they were the stand-ins, for the lighting stand-ins for the three main actors, right? So two of them were. So when you're talking about was
I'm talking about the one that's he's prominently featured many times, but he never had a line, not one line. They couldn't give him one line.
Yeah, we see him. But there's another guy that we see all the time who's Lieutenant Leslie, who gets a line in 2 episodes. And I was shocked when somebody corrected me correctly. I was like, Eddie, we got to sit in the captain's chair once. I was like, no, he did. And they're like, yeah, he did. Go watch his episodes. I did. Yeah. I was like, son of a bitch. Leslie's in the captain's
women
chair.
Or something?
It was. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was. It might have been Squire of Gothas. It might have been where all the command staff were down in planet.
Oh yeah,
or something.
But
like that.
If we had Joanna McCoy got a lot of space in these novels, and she never was anything. So she wasn't even as much as the vocal cord free crew member. So I think we need to. I think if you and I wrote a novel like Sandra and Myrna about that guy, maybe not like that, but then we would be there's got to be a hidden silent majority of Star Trek fans that wants to know what the hell's going on with that guy.
I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to find out what's going on with that guy.
First of all, what's his name? Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes they have multiple names depending on the episode. It's fun.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I did like it because that gives you some grounding in the series of people that are also regulars that just never say anything. You know, Bill Blackburn sitting there in the navigator's chair in season 1. And Leslie walking through all the hallways and getting strangled by the dichronium cloud creature in Obsession. And I want to say it's Lemley who you're talking about, the guy in the blue shirt, but I'm not sure about that. It can't all be D'Amato's that get their 13 minutes and then they're dead, right?
I am for you, D'Amato.
That's right. So in this novel, I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that it feels like the villains of the story are the Tamari. They're a species of, how else do you describe it, swarthy, squat survivors who have a weird mix of tech that's super high tech and super low tech.
I would describe them as a race of chicks with beards, but
they're like gnomes or Tolkien dwarves, where they all kind of are swarthy and stuff like that. They're led by
Gimli.
Yeoman Isabel Tamari, who we find out is actually Ilsa, who takes Spock as a consort / pet. That's demeaning, I think.
Well, that's a real novel idea, if you'll pardon the pun. You know, you taking Spock as a consort. When have we ever seen that?
It feels like we've seen it in novels already before. That's right. It's the Romulan thing to do, but she's not even Romulan. And then, of course, as usual, we have a cavalcade of bad admirals, but they're mostly bad commodores in this one. They're gonna railroad our heroes into court martial, and they're gonna find Spock guilty, even though he's guilty. But he's never really guilty, right? Because he's always doing the right thing, even when he's guilty. But he's gonna get court-martialed and imprisoned, and Scotty's gonna get dropped in rank to lieutenant. And I'm like, exclamation point!
I know you're thinking, what the hell? This is the plague rat thing all over again. I'm getting upset over here. No, I think the setup, and I'm surprised to hear you say that this lady Sonny never wrote any other books. It's a good setup because, you know, the first part you're like, damn, really, geez, you know, there's some jolts that get you, and you're thinking, how the hell is she gonna, you know, how are our heroes gonna work their way out of this one? I mean, the Enterprise is severely damaged. Yes. You know, Scotty's grounded for a year.
Yes.
And demoted. Spock is going off to Rura Pente or whatever the hell.
Minos,
you know,
your point is well
crazy.
taken. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think Minos means he has to live in that maze with a Minotaur, but it's
Minotaur, yeah. And Kirk's getting second guessed by jerk off new crew members.
Yes.
You know, like how is that flying?
Yeah, and he's not having it, by the way. Good for him. You know, he likes what he likes, and when he doesn't get what he likes, he has real problems, and especially doesn't like it when people talk back. And they're gonna find it. They're gonna fuck around and find out, aren't they? But listen, I will say this: I think
it's Kirk around and find out.
Kirk around and find out. That's right. That way we'll stay safe. I have some questions, but I think we can answer them as we go. So we'll do a quick, easy walkthrough of our plot here, and then we'll do our final conclusions from there. So I noted that the foreword was written again by good friend Theodore Sturgeon, who talks about how the author helped develop all 73 Star Trek episodes, did all the stuff that she did. Tiny plump Jewish mama who helped save Star Trek, and we, as longtime Star Trek fans, and soon to go to our first Star Trek convention, really appreciate those who kept the torch going in the dark days.
A debt of gratitude, for sure.
That's right. So chapter, and again, I remember seeing one of these where you said you appreciate that when they named the chapters. Chapter 1, The Attack. They're doing it for you.
Thank you. I'm all in. I've got a big old ice cream spoon, and I'm eating it up.
Yeah, so Scotty feels the ship lurch, and he realizes that the bridge has been hit by something. That's how much he knows the ship. So he immediately rushes to the scene, and he arrives to find the bridge is wrecked, full of carnage, dead people, injured people, And you're
But
immediately, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. That is an interesting way. You would think we would get the explosion from the point of view of Kirk or somebody on the bridge.
Yeah, I think
But
that
it's
might be the
interesting.
difference between us and writers, in that they kind of have an idea of, let's do it differently. Let's show it from the point of view of somebody else, because that is the standard way to do it, right?
Well, and it does add to the mystery, because then you got to piece it together. I thought it was pretty cool, the way it started there with you know this catastrophic thing that you never really thought about and we never really saw on the show. The bridge, that little saucer, not the saucer part, but I don't know what they call that little bubble blowing up.
Yeah, command deck, we'll say, yes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty cool start. Anyway,
it is, yeah, and so that's it. We're immediately going, oh no, what about our heroes, the ones we know? We're sure that somebody died and it wasn't our heroes, and it turns out they have a lot of trainees on board and a lot of ensigns on board, and stuff like that. And we learned that a lot of them died in the explosion. Sulu's slightly injured. Chekhov's condition unknown. Kirk is soaked in his own blood. Spock has it worse than maybe anybody except Kirk. Uhura is unconscious. And then McCoy arrives, and he stays on the deck below to receive the wounded as they're bringing them out.
This reminds me of another thing too. It's we saw this with several of the episodes. Like, they really need to do something about Starfleet security. It's way too easy to infiltrate Starfleet. You can show your android can show up and within a month take over the whole ship.
Norman, we're looking at you, Norman. That's exactly right.
Yeah. You got damn terrorists getting on board. Nobody knows who the hell they are, and they don't have any records, and they're blowing up the thing. So I'm just saying, for future generations, let's tighten it up a little bit.
You speak the truth. It's for sure, yeah, definitely. There's too many cases where somebody just gets on board and pretends they're a crew member and they're not.
Stop giving them the damn library tape so they can study the schematics of the ship.
Yeah, it's terrible. So we learned that Omega is working on Spock and McCoy is focusing on Kirk, and everybody else is pretty much okay except for the dead ensigns, who remain nameless. Scotty,
that'd be a great name for a band.
Ensigns who remain nameless. The dead ensigns. That's right. Scotty concludes that the damage is enough to necessitate that they separate the primary hull from the secondary hull, and then she immediately starts mixing up which one is which. I will tell you, in reality, the primary hull is the saucer, and the secondary hull is the lower section of the ship with the warp engines, right?
Okay.
But it's so damaged, and the attachments between the two are so damaged that Scotty, who's now basically in command, right, he makes a decision to jettison the saucer and leave it there and return home under power of the secondary hull. So that's why McCoy's like, why is some other doctor reporting to be, to share my quarters? It's because he hasn't heard yet that they got rid of the primary hull. Although it's a little confusing because I think all the crew quarters are in the saucer section.
So is that like then what we had with Next Generation, where they would separate the saucer? So they just flying around without the saucer now, just the nacelles and the other part.
That's right. Report to the battle bridge. And they didn't talk about battle bridges. They're probably flying from auxiliary control is what they're doing, right? But they can't be on the bridge even if they had the saucer because the bridge is destroyed. So that's a big deal. I will lead to the question that they don't ever that they replace it. So what leads to the question of what is the famous ship where they said they've replaced every part of it so that there's no original wood left in the ship? Is it still the same ship if there's no original parts left in the ship? I mean, if you take,
I don't know, is it still Leonard Skinnerd?
I think we agree on that, which would seem to indicate this is not really the Enterprise anymore, but it's fine. It's a little weird because it's like, the first rule of Star Trek authors is you don't get to kill off the main crew. I was like, this feels like killing off the main crew a little bit. Or at the very least, it feels like some sort of a trope where they replaced the main crew member with an alternate universe member of the version and said, "That's you now, and you're them now." It's like, no, it's not the same person. You can't do that. But they're going to let her. It's still early, so they're going to let her slide with it. It's like, it's not like I got rid of the Klingons for a millennia or something like that. So So Spock regains consciousness and immediately starts freaking out. He has to see Scotty. I got to see Scotty. It's a bomb. It's an intruder. And he tells Scotty, or Scotty tells him that he jettisoned the upper hull, and Spock wants to come back to work. He's like, you cannot. I guess he says you cannot. But even Chapel can't stop him. Spock's a force of nature, and Spock's going to come back to work regardless.
Well, and that seems consistent with what we know of Spock.
Absolutely, yeah, very consistent with what we know of Spock.
But I'm surprised there wasn't some Kirk angst. Oh, my poor ship! What have they done to my ship? Where I think she forgot about that. It would have been. I know he's in a coma or whatever, but it would have been nice to have some, Kirk feeling conflicted about his, not just his best pal, but but the ship is the love of his life. Yeah.
But Rob, you're onto something when you're saying that she is making the creative choice to mostly leave him out of the novel. So that we should be seeing that. We're used to seeing that, but instead we are going to experience this stuff through other characters, and that must have been a choice on her part. I'm not sure it's a great choice or the best choice, but it's a choice, and I'll give her that. So,
okay.
So they bring the engineering hull back to Starbase, and but first Spock is interviewing some of the crew about stuff like that. He actually mind melds with Sulu. He's like, Sulu can't remember everything. It was obviously very confusing. Like, can I just see your mind? If I see it, I'll be able to tell. And they both kind of see that there's a yeoman who comes on the bridge, gives Kirk something, and then leaves. And she's short and stocky.
So they're basically treating Sonni here is basically treating mind melds now like hypnosis.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the watch as it swings back and forth, and you're falling asleep. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Point to the puppet. Where did he touch you? All that stuff. Yeah.
So after they get back to Starbase, Spock and Scotty, are both thinking sabotage. Spock wants to go back to the saucer section, which has been abandoned. I think you don't leave that out there. Don't you go tow that back? Aren't the Klingons looking for that out there somewhere? It feels like. But it's still out there somewhere, so they decide to come up with a plan to go and sneak out there and find it. But once they get there, once there's no evidence of foul play, except for they find a flattened bottle and a crumpled piece of paper.
Well, and Butch, you neglected to mention that we got the call back to Spock changing the little cassette tapes. This is Smith requesting to leave Starbase.
I think I was there too, but we're not actually there yet. That's when. Oh,
am I missing? Am I tracking?
This is actually Scotty's official mission to go, and Spock just sneaks on. You're thinking about when they steal the Raven later. So you're tracking. You're tracking a little bit, but yeah, because that is very menagerie when they get to that part for sure. Or alternatively, very season 2, episode 1 of Strange New Worlds. We'll see. It doesn't.
Yeah, they start doing it every 20 minutes. It has been like four whole days since I read the book.
He did deserve to get court-martialed for this. I don't know. So Spock says that the investigation points to a yeoman, Isabel Tomari. They find the bottle had some drugs in it, and the piece of paper is a star chart. The drugs are a depilatory, which is a hair removal.
She had an air on board.
Yeah, she's trying to get ready for swimsuit season, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, or not. But anyway, she gone. They can't find her anywhere. She slipped out, parts unknown. We don't know. But the time they get back, Commodore Clark says that Spock has 0 case, so you're to stand down and heal up, and that's it. It's an order. And Spock's like, I am therefore going anyway. Where have you heard that one before? That's the end of chapter 1, so that's cool.
That's a banger.
That's right. So now chapter 2 is the search, and here we go. Starts off
Butch.
with yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I gave that round 10-8 to Tomari.
For sure. I gotta tell you, Jim, your ship's a pile of wreck right now. 2 to the head and 1 to the body, and it's all over. It's whatever. Boxing, sorry. So they open up with an explanation of what the USS Raven is. It's a crew of 17, 8 humans, 8 Andorians, and 1 Vulcan. But Spock and Scotty plan to, quote, borrow it without authorization, unquote.
Yeah.
They're unsure if they can handle it with just the two of them. It's a small ship, but it's a fast ship. They give a quick Vulcan neck pinch on the guard. And then I wrote down the audio tape magic from Spock, and they're authorized. Yeah, so that's exactly it. They use the audio tapes to make it sound like they've been authorized to use the ship, and so they're allowed to leave with the ship. And they're off to search for a star system that's drawn on essentially the back of a bubblegum wrapper. But it's Spock, so they find it on a planet called Quest. It's a barren landscape. And they're investigating around, just the two of them, of course, and they are quickly put upon by some Romulans.
And wasn't it a ways away too, right? It's
they took them a while to get there. Yeah, that's for sure.
We're I'm talking to you, J.J. Abrams. We're not a hop, skip, and a jump from everywhere in the galaxy. You know?
I think this episode is over a period of months. It's actually, we know it's at least 2 months, right? So, because I think Kirk's healing for just a month on his own, which means Spock's out here almost for a month on his own.
Well, I don't know how long his strike shortened pirate season was for the pirates.
So the Romulans are led by Commander Julina, who is beautiful in all the ways that Lieutenant George was called beautiful in Spock Messiah. I just figured she's Elle McPherson is playing Commander Julina as a Romulan. I think we'll go with that.
I'm in.
And Spock is suffering because he did not have all of his wounds treated. He has a piece of metal still inside his back that's going to become a problem if it's untreated. And it's going to eventually start causing more problems.
This is a perfect injury because she describes it well, and it's like a ticking time bomb, and you don't know when it could happen at any time.
Yeah, and presumably strenuous activity is harder on it than just laying low. So
so that's good. We got suspense. We got the it's not the ticking clock exactly, but it kind of is. It's like, oh, this is not good.
So the Romulans, it turns out, are also investigating a case of sabotage, and they also found a map. And I was like, that can't be a coincidence. And then before you even have time to think about that, all the Romulans and the Federation people are under siege because the Klingons have showed up. Guess what? They're investigating a sabotage event. And they're like, hold on. Spock's like, hold on. I think we should compare notes and conclude we didn't do it to each other. Somebody's fucking with all of us, is what it is.
When you make a cocktail napkin map of where you live, if you were a saboteur,
well, that's the thing.
I think they're doing. It's a test, right? They're trying to get them to.
Yeah, they're trying to get them here so that they can evaluate them. I think because we're going to learn that they have ulterior motives. It turns out we don't even know who they are at this point. We just know they might be swarthy and short and stocky. Short and squatty, all butt, no body, as they used to say in high school. So there's a quick three-way truce. Julina and her subcommander Placis and Delos, and she is the captain of the ship Bird of Prey. Interesting, this came out the year before Star Trek 3, where we see, I believe, the first use of the phrase Bird of Prey as a ship. Styles calls a Romulan ship. It says it has a painting of a bird of prey on it, but in Balance of Terror. But that's they've mentioned it before, but now they're calling a ship that. And eventually in Star Trek 3, they just start calling that whole class of Klingon ships birds of prey. So they stole that right out of the Romulans. That's weird. We learned in Enterprise incident that the Klingons are giving the Romulan ships, and now the Klingons are naming some of their ships after Romulan stuff, which is very strange. I guess that's how we trade. We'll give you ships, and in exchange, you let us call our ships birds of prey. How's that sound? Is that cool? Oh, and we get the cloaking device too. Is that cool? Yeah. Oh, and our ships are often going to be crappy leftover ones. Is that cool?
In exchange, we're gonna give you giant shoulder pads,
and sometimes bumpy foreheads for a reason, and I don't know why. All right, so the Klingons are Commander Klee and Melek and Kasu, and they're from the cruiser Force, and soon all of them. So they've been. So just to be clear, Spock and Scotty taken prisoner by the Romulans, then they agree on something. Then they're taken prisoner by the Klingons, then they agree on something. Now they're being taken prisoner again. All of the in like 20 minutes. It's amazing. If there's anything more second season Star Trek than getting captured 3 times in 20 minutes, I don't know what there is. It's fine. And so they vaporize one of the Klingons, and these invisible restraints appear from a distance. They're like, wow, they must be powerful. They can restrain us without even being near us. Suddenly, just these invisible bonds are wrapping around, they have their wrists behind their backs. And sure enough, the aliens are short and hairy. Aha! Aha! And then they decide they're going to take them on their ship, and so they pile all of their captives, the bad guys do, into their ship, which is just some basic rocket ship out of Flight to Mars or something at Disneyland. It's a chemical rocket, and like, this is how they have bad flight technology, but incredible security technology. Basically, is what it is.
The Artemis, they stole it. That just landed yesterday for people to listen to this in 20 years. But yeah, it's a rocket. Yeah, it's a we got a puzzle wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma, Butch.
That's exactly right. And so Spock learns that they are led by the person who they knew on the Enterprise as Yeoman Tamaris. But it turns out she is actually Ilsa of the Tamarians. And the Tamarians are an alien race that lives on a hostile world that has some very weird planetary. There's 2 stars, and it's a planet that orbits elliptically between them and stuff like that, which feels like very much like I don't think you've seen, which is Hegemony Part 2, which is season 3, episode 1 of Strange New Worlds, has something very similar setup, and there's a corridor between that too. This corridor is going to come into play, so it feels like somebody's been reading novels to come up with ideas for new Star Trek episodes. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they basically hold a quick draft. The Tamarians do, and several Tamarians draft some of our prisoners, including our heroes. And so Spock and Julina, the Romulan commander, get drafted by Ilsa. So they're now her consort / attendant / plaything / pet / hired muscler / potted plants, however you want to call it.
Yeah, but. You brought up an interesting point, Butch, about the gold mine of ideas that some of these books were. We're going to, in a minute here, get trilithium. Is that the first mention of trilithium that we're going to get in Star Trek?
As far as I know, it is. I mean, we'll hear trilithium off screen a lot. We'll hear trilithium on screen. It'll mean different things on screen when sometimes you hear it. The first time I remember hearing trilithium was in Star Trek Generations, which is Dr. Soren uses trilithium to cause the stars to go supernova, right?
Yeah, and that's 10 years after this book, so...
Oh, yeah, 12 years, actually, 95, yeah, so trilithium, exactly. And so we don't... But again, they're talking about trilithium, boy, with this stuff, you can really power your ship for a while. And again, Star Trek still at this point hadn't figured out if the dilithium crystals power the ship. I think what we believe now is it's a matter antimatter reaction through which the dilithium crystals like refine or enhance it or something like that to create a warp bubble. The crystals themselves aren't power; they allow your existing power to become much more powerful and focused or whatever. But we're not there yet. They're treating it as energy in this case, so. We're gonna give him a pass because this stuff hadn't been developed until next generation, I don't think. So, in terms of how exactly the engines are supposed to work, it's fiction at the end of the day, right? So, it's all good. So, meanwhile, now they're captors, and Spock won't eat meat, and they don't grow plants much on this planet they're on. So he's going to be starving. Plus, he's already injured. So he's going to be in a world of hurt pretty soon. Scotty's worried about him, and so. But he can't do anything because he's been drafted by ILOB. ILOB is like the chief engineer guy of their group, of the bad guys, which is handy because Scotty quickly makes friends with people based on he's jovial and he's really, really, really helpful. So Scotty's gonna hit off well with his guy. That's gonna come into play later. But we find out why they got captured because they're going to be put towards weapon training. It turns out, it feels like the bad guys are testing them. Stop me if you've heard before that our heroes are captured to be tested militarily to see who's strong and that kind of thing.
Love, you'll like it.
Yeah, so
was that the apple?
Yes,
I'm game. I was trying to gamester, but I guess
it's freedom. You'll like it. Yes, exactly. Yeah. You're not Triskelion again. By the way, So it's kind of fun that they go there, but basically they're testing them out in battle to basically see what they can do. So that because it turns out these Tamarians are planning on launching a conquest of the Alpha Quadrant, and so we don't know it's Alpha Quadrant yet, but that's what they call it, modern Trek. And so they're going to launch an invasion of all three, or maybe they're picking which one to go for first or whatever. It's unclear what exactly they're trying to find out, but they want to find out how good of fighters they are. They have them fighting with pretty basic instruments and things like that. But and Spock because he's property now gets a pierced ear before battle. If you ever wonder what Spock with an earring would look like, feels like 1983 is the year to give Spock an earring, doesn't it? Though
I think so. Yeah.
Not two of them, but one earring, right? He gets one earring.
We were all thinking of that in about 84, so maybe Spock was ahead of the trend.
That's exactly right. We're just following the trend that Sonni Cooper came up with in a Star Trek novel. That'd be funny.
Spoiler, I don't think any of us actually ever went through with it and got one, did they? Did Jay get an earring? Or
Jay has an earring. He had it. I don't know if he still does, but he did at some point.
I know he's got a tramp stamp for crying out loud.
Brock Albin might have gotten an earring. I can't remember if he did or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The listening audience doesn't have any idea what we're talking about. And that's fine. So Scotty impresses his boss, his host, his captor, but and he gets hit in battle by some dart, and some of the Romulans save him. And it turns out that the dart is tipped with this weird substance that they can't explain, which is the aforementioned trilithium. That's going to be like the secret of how they're going to do all sorts of stuff.
And Butch, they're, and we're going to find out later why, but they're very like, if someone gets injured, just step over them and keep going. And we learn that they're, the I don't know, antagonists are like, the Tamarians are like baffled whenever one of our heroes tries to tend to the wounds of somebody or rescue somebody. And it's like, but also they've taken over an eighth of the galaxy and conquered all these. Really, this is the first time you've encountered people trying to help the wounded in all your conquest of hundreds of planets and different races and this, conglomeration of, cobbled together culture you have. You've never seen someone trying to help a brother up, Everybody slips on a banana peel and you shoot them while they're down. I mean, it's crazy.
It sucks to be you, buddy. Yeah, it is crazy. And I will say that immediately, of course, also with all that being said, Ilsa immediately starts breaking the rule because she's going through great lengths to keep Spock alive, even though Spock should be the aforementioned stepped over and left for dead because he's grievously injured, right? And everybody knows it.
Yeah.
But she's kind of in love with him. And so eventually an attempt is going to be made to escape on one of these rocket ships. And some of them get away. Some of the Klingons, some of the Romulans get away. Scotty is with them, but he at the last second jumps off because he can't leave Kirk there alone. If he leaves Kirk there alone, he's worried Kirk's going to die. He doesn't know how to save him, but he can't leave him there alone. The price of this, of course, is that Scotty's not getting away to warn the Federation about this threat to them. So they have to rely on the Klingons' good word that they will warn the Federation about the threat, and we learned that they're not as good about that, or maybe they didn't get away. We don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
And that's chapter 2, so moving on to chapter 3. Kirk is finally returning to duty.
What's the name of it?
Oh, Enterprise, it turns out. Yes. I forgot. We have names for it. Yeah, Kirk is finally returning to duty. He's mad. He's impatient. He's gruff. And we learned it's been some time. So long now. I don't want to say it's been a long time, but Chekhov is now Lieutenant Chekhov. So
I enjoyed this start of this chapter because, Kirk's been out of commission for a little bit, and I guess he wasn't reading the paper. And he's a little behind on his news of his own ship. He's just like, do. All right. We're starting up, and there's been a lot of changes. So this is the part that I said really reminded me of the motion picture, where Kirk's kind of I'm not saying he's a fish out of water in his own ship, but he's like the last to know, and it makes for some fun salty Kirk.
Yes, he's fun when he's salty. I will give you that. And it is definitely that situation he wakes up to, because he wakes up to new command crew and all this stuff, and why didn't you tell me? Well, you were asleep and we wanted you to get healed and stuff before. We didn't want you to stress about it. So
it'd be like if you came home and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go say hi to Karen. Oh, there's another woman in the dining room. Huh, weird. Maybe it's a friend of Karen's. Maybe she's out back. Who are those kids? They're not my kids. And it's like Kirk's walking around going, oh, Scotty must be in engineering. Spock must be in the bathroom. Who the hell is this person? Who the hell is that person?
Or hear me out. Or you come home from your freshman year of college and your parents have given your cat away. How about that?
Damn.
Yeah, so there's that.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and we know who the villains are. It's fine.
That's terrible.
So we find out all these new officers, and Bones didn't want to tell him. And by the way, it's probably worth mentioning that Scotty and Spock are up for court martial, except we can't find them. They're MIA. They're wanted for desertion, theft, and being MIA. And so they simply disappeared. So Spock, we're wondering whether Spock had found a clue, and that's when they went off. So Kirk enlists Leonidas, the new first officer, and Martin, the new science officer, to help look for it.
Now, which one was the asshole?
I think it's Leonidas, who's the Greek dancer, 5'6" guy, who's also too much by the book guy. I think it's Leonidas. The one who insists on that he not be, when Spock's back, that he not be allowed to return to duty and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think so. And so so he gets mad at Leonidas because Leonidas has worry beads on the bridge. He's like, "You will not bring those on the bridge. I'm tired of them already." Yeah, which you felt a little bit. Kirk's really irritable if he's like, not allowing somebody to do their thing, I suppose. And then Spock, he finds a tape that has it marked by an IDIC symbol, and it says, "Do not follow, live long and prosper." So Kirk is immediately going to follow him. He's like, they solved the riddle of the star chart, because Leonidas is a star chart kind of like super fan. And I was like, your science officer's right there. Isn't it his job to figure this shit out? But it's fine.
Well, and it's fun that, Spock knows he's going to follow. I know you have to give information that, like, hey, this is what we're doing, and it's important stuff, but don't be surprised, Spock, when Kirk shows up, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, so he's like, but we're going to need an excuse to go there. We can't just go there because we know this. Starfleet won't allow it. So come up with a scientific reason why we need to go study something there. And of course, the planetary alignment is the thing that's really intriguing, and they're going to use that as an excuse. We get a brief introduction about each of the three new commanders. Commander Leonidas is a ladies' man. He's 5'6". He's getting the crew hyped up with dancing with them and stuff like that. And he's so good for crew morale that he starts to win Kirk over a little bit. Martin is the science officer, and he's having trouble figure out what Kirk wants. And Bones, he asks Bones for assistance over drinks, and that's kind of fun, So
yeah.
And then Douglas is the new chief engineer that's replaced Scotty, and we don't have to worry about him too much. We're not going to get a lot of him, so it's fine. So they arrive at the star system where the Raven was abandoned. They also find a Klingon ship too, and a Romulan ship, and a Tamari rocket. And so they decide, well, here we'll sneak away, watch the rocket take off, and then wherever it goes, we'll follow it. Then we'll know where they're at. And here's a question, Rob. I do not know this. So listen, we talked about how they went to great pains to blow up a bridge of the Enterprise so that they could get a couple people to follow them, using the clue of the map and the bottle, to follow them to this planet so they could capture them, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out they got the Romulans the same way and they got the Klingons the same way. None of the three of them, I get why the situation was such that the Federation didn't send a starship, but the other three, did they just send 3-man ships as well, or what? It's like, or did they have large battle cruisers? It feels like that Klingon ship is just a 3 or 4-man ship too. It's like, did nobody send their fleet, their heavy cruisers on this mission? It feels like that if they had, we wouldn't be having this problem. So maybe that's why they didn't.
Well, I think they did it in such a way that you're not going to bring hellfire raining down on you, but you want you want to sneak out, you want to cut off a little slice, you want to kind of shape the pizza so that it doesn't, nobody can tell you took another piece out of it, right?
Yes.
You kind of carve it off a sliver, and you're going to go nibble on it and see if you like it. And if it looks like it's, you can't just go blundering in and walk up to the Romulan Empire and slap them in the face, pow, because you don't know what you're getting into.
That's fair.
So I think it was by design that they want to get someone formidable, but they don't want to bring the whole house down on them.
That's exactly right. And thanks a lot for this. If I may, Richard Dreyfuss, for a moment. Damn you! I have pizza waiting in the fridge for me right now, and I'm hungry all of a sudden. It's fine. It's fine. The pizza will wait. All right. So, say arrive at this. The system is fascinating to Leonidas, who says it's one of a kind, and like I said, it's similar to the one from Hegemony Part 2 on Strange New Worlds. Chekhov is ordered to prepare a landing party because we're beaming down. Good for him. Man of Action, get in charge. That's good.
Good, very good.
All right, Chapter 4 is the pet. Ilsa is giving Spock a bath.
Of course she is.
Yeah, and I'm like, paging Myrna Culbreth.
I was like, is there some kind of clause where the authors are required to bathe Spock in every novel? Jesus Christ.
Paging Myrna Culbreth, line 1, please.
Well, and he's, of course, by now, he's helpless.
Yeah.
So he's got to, at least it's not Kirk bathing him for once, so that's good.
Yep. So he's been prisoner. Yeah, we learned he's been prisoner for a month. So this has been going around. She thinks she's keeping him intellectually stimulated, but he is humiliated. So
yeah, well, he's paralyzed. He's, we get suicidal Spock. That's how, you thought you had teenage angst in other Star Trek novels. Spock is full blown, disabled, depressed, feeling useless, feeling hopeless.
Yeah, and all of that is true. But I will say this. So he has to see Scotty. Scotty is adopted well to Tamari. It turns out he's starting to look like one of them. He's putting on weight because he has no problem eating meat chunks, and he's growing his beard out. So Scotty has to go warn the Federation about this, he says. And he thinks that the crystal is trilithium, which is an incredible power source, as we said before. Their planet that they're on is dying, so the Tamari need a new one, a new place to live, and that's why he thinks that they're going to launch this attack on the rest of the system.
But that makes no sense. They already have an eighth of the galaxy, right? Did I read that wrong?
I don't remember saying an eighth of the galaxy, but yeah, we learned that they are fruitful and multiply. Right, so they've been pushing the other direction. Now they're going to push. They've been pushing east. Now they're going to push west, I guess. But I think you could go. Yeah, they should, just like you said before. They should have met somebody who cared about their wounded. Right, if they conquered that many people, they should care about somebody. But they have to show them as formidable, because from what we've seen, I don't think they sound formidable to me at this point. I think if they launch an invasion of the Klingons wipe the floor with them. Right?
Yeah.
You got rockets. We'll just come at you at warp 5, fire at you from warp, and you're all gone. What are you going to do? You're not even going to ever get to the planet to fight us in hand to hand.
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
matter.
Cool that you got a good infantry, but yeah, we're going to be Gulf warring your ass from distance from back in the day.
So I think for me, and this is telling you a little bit about where I'm going to conclude this book. For me, the Tamarians feel like a threat that's being talked about like it's tremendous, but it's not that tremendous of a threat. I guess to me, it doesn't reach out to me, other than because Spock is kind of like her pet, but he's in a situation where if it was a normal Spock, there's no way he'd be in this situation. He's paralyzed Spock, right? And so we don't. The thing is, you're right. It gets to the point where Spock talks to Scotty. He's like, "You've got to go. Somebody's got to warn the Federation about this threat." And Scotty's like, "I cannot leave you." And that's when I think Spock's like comes to the conclusion. Look, he, as humiliated as he is, and as sick and as downtrodden as he is, the suicide attempt I don't think has anything to do with him feeling bad for himself. He needs to get rid of he's needs of the few, right? So he's like, if I die, Scotty has no more reason to stay here, and Scotty can easily escape and get the F out of here and then go warn the Federation, and then all this problem goes away. And so Yes.
You make an interesting point about the Tamarians. So I think you're right. I think, I think they're a little bit of a paper tiger. They're the Mike Tyson of the galaxy right now. They built up their record, beating a bunch of no names and Marvis Frasers and
That's right.
Henry Tillmans and Bone Crusher Smiths. They've bone crushed their way to a nice gaudy record, but who have they fought?
Now Riddick Bowe. Now you're coming after Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield and George Foreman all at the same time.
Yeah,
smooth move, X-Lax. Yeah,
that's bananas. You're going to get it handed to you, but it's true. They are a threat. They obviously have I would say even more than Tyson, they have a fighting spirit. You clip Tyson, he's done. Tyson's not getting up and winning a fight. But
Rob's in boxing withdrawal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
no way, there's a big boxing match on.
morning.
As soon as this recording is over, there's a big boxing match on today. So we got pugilism on the mind today.
Yes. Also, I'm subtly trying to increase Star Trek interest in our boxing podcast. But
Senator McCullough, Saturday Night at the Fights. Senator McCullough, 50 great fights.
You gotta warn. It's like the Kelvins coming in, or it's like. It's like a Savage Curtain testing going on. So, if nothing else, you got to warn Starfleet that a lot of your other episodes are getting referenced, without your consent.
Without consent, that's the best part about that whole sentence. Yeah. So anyway, Ilsa is like, hey, I brought something fascinating for you. It's just starting the growing season, and so here's some seed pods. That are growing, and they're lovely. I thought you would like to look at them. I'm going to set them over here where you can't get at them because you're paralyzed.
They're poisonous.
They're poisonous, so don't try anything. But you can't get at them anyway because you're paralyzed. But just sit and ponder the beauty of the seed pods. So she leaves them as like, this is a James Bond movie all over again.
So I thought that was a little heavy-handed.
So he manages to make it over the seed pods and eat them and immediately starts dying. But it turns out that the timing is perfect because the Enterprise has arrived and beamed down, seen his life signature and beamed down, and McCoy is immediately treating him, and they pumps his stomach. I was like, can you imagine Spock getting his stomach pumped? I was like, yeah, every Friday night, bitches, after 2-for-1 shots down and 10 forward, bitches, yeah. Probably not. Okay.
Do you think Spock says bitches all the time?
Oh, I'm Spock easy and I got bitches galore. Probably. He's a rapper at heart. He is.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Spock's like, I got 29.2 problems and bitches ain't one.
29.2613 problems. It's fine. So basically, so again, on the subject of the paper tiger, so Ilsa is like, oh no, Spock's not well, because like, I'm saving him, by the way, we're taking him because, material transporters, which you don't have, by the way, phasers, you have phasers, no, well, we're leaving. She's like, well, I guess you're leaving with him. Okay, it's been nice knowing you, Spock. They don't even really have a goodbye, really, do they?
No.
Yeah, we out. Nice. Thanks for the lovely bean pods and bath salts, and we'll see you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for I appreciate how clean my balls have been the last couple months, but I gotta go. Time to go.
That's right. And so we are going to move on to Chapter 5, which means they're about to go home. So Chapter 5 is, of course, court-martial. That's right. So
there's a reckoning. Yep.
So they're putting together a panel of Commodore Pierce, the aforementioned Commodore Kingston Clark, and Fleet Captain Aiko Tamako. Spock and Scotty are on trial. Spock waives counsel. Scotty pleads not guilty. Spock pleads guilty.
Shocker. Did you drop the book?
I did. I was like, I can't believe it. Yeah, so Commodore Bragg is conducting the prosecution. Scotty seems to be in fair shape for his case-wise, being, considering that he stopped the Tamari threat. But Spock is in more jeopardy. And, of course, you got Kirk in trouble for rescuing him, too, strange enough. Kirk gets upbraided for the rescue attempt, and by the way, and then on the subject of the Romulan and Klingon message, comes up. So because what happened is Spock is in corridors, is in his quarters, And he's like, yeah, I remember I promised Juliana I would send a warning to the Romulan Empire if I got out, and I did, and I'm a man of my word. So he secretly sends a message to help the Klingon Empire and the Romulan Star Empire, and they're like, yeah, by the way, we'll just add that as a charge on the court martial here.
I must know the source.
Yes, exactly. So Spock's in there, and of course they also mentioned, by the way, you remember that Talos 4 thing, which makes you a repeat offender? I was like, don't forget the one where he stole the Enterprise in season 2. No, but it was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't count that.
Spock assumes he's toast, and he hopes Scotty will get vindicated. And of course, Scotty is vindicated, although he's, like I said, he's dropped to lieutenant and reassigned to the academy. Spock is found guilty and sent to a rehab center on Minos. After the sentence, he'll be barred from all Starfleet service, facilities, and activities forever.
No class reunions, nothing.
Nothing. Not even. Like you said, not even the class reunion, and that's going to hurt. Because what are you going to do next? Get rid of the Klingons for 1,000 years, you bastards.
Well, remember in the I remember thinking this during the show. It's like, geez, Kirk has saved the galaxy and the Starfleet and the Federation's ass many times over, and then you think he made one mistake, and you're coming at him with, guns ablazing. Remember in court martial, they're out to, we're going to make an exit. It's like, geez, it's kind of ruthless.
Yeah,
his
fellow captain's looking at him side eye over their glasses of bourbon and stuff like that.
He's getting the side eye. I mean, come on, man.
Kill a lot of your friends lately, Kirk. What did that fuck did that come from? I thought we were pals. So that's it. So Kirk vows to appeal it, and Spock forbids it. Tells him, "Live long and prosper. I'm out." And so now he's stripped down. He's wearing a yellow jumpsuit, and as they're marching up the corridor, Uhura and Chapel and Rand, all in tears, watch him go on his way to get onto a cruiser to take him to Minos.
Yeah,
it's pretty brutal. They give him a number. They give him a number M621V. I was like, does that mean anything? Is that supposed to mean anything? I was looking for meaning. I couldn't find any meaning in there, but I don't think there is one. 24601.
It might have been a big shot on the outside, but your number MK261V here, Jerkoff.
And if we've seen, we learned that Minos is one of 4 prison planets. There's 2 for humans and 2 for species that need special accommodation in terms of life preservation. It's a rough planet. It's an A-class planet, which means don't leave the dome, as it were.
Yeah.
And, of course, they have cellmates, and, of course, it's a prison movie, so what happens? One of the cellmates is a badass and wants to smack Spock around all the time, and that's going to work. But Spock, of course, is still injured, still has not had the surgery, right?
Yeah.
So, son of a bitch. He didn't, or has he had the surgery now? Have they fixed him?
I think so.
Oh yeah, right. I think they fixed him before
because
he's not getting fixed. McCoy's not fixing him after this. I don't think. So
yeah.
So
no, that'd be kind of cruel to just. Sorry, pal, you're in a wheelchair. We can stitch you up before, but we're not doing it.
Yeah. So it turns out he's saved by a Romulan named Desus. No, not that one. The other one, not Desus. Desus. Who is a pirate? I was like, do they have Romulan pirates? Apparently, they do. Or so we're told. I feel
like we could have had an Orion pirate.
They're right there for the having, aren't they? Yes. This is their backhanded way of getting Romulans into this.
Where's Lou Ferrigno when you need him? I know I'm getting ahead of myself with the Star Trek fan movies.
Lou Ferrigno's still doing the Hulk in E3, I think. Maybe
he did. You got to watch those, the Star Trek Continues or whatever it was.
Oh, that's right. He's in one of those, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an Orion slave trader.
Oh, by the the series Star Trek Enterprise, the Big Show plays an Orion slave trader.
Really?
Really, yeah. Because if you want big, scary, muscular guys,
that makes sense.
Who are you going to get who's bigger than Lou Ferrigno? They found somebody. It turns out. So now we get a couple more confrontations with the asshole cellmate Bull. And Spock does the whole "I have no desire to hurt you," but this time the bad guy has help, and so he gets injured, and so they send him to the infirmary where the doctor treats their injuries. Again, they don't seem to care if the patient, if the inmates are hurting each other, which feels like a very 1950s Alcatraz thing to do, but it doesn't feel like a Federation thing to do.
Yeah, I thought what was it, Escape from Alcatraz, where you kind of had the sadistic warden a little bit, and it kind of felt like that. People, they'll watch with amusement as the inmates rough each other up and stuff.
That's Rapente shit. Come on, that's not how we do it in the Federation. That's fine. All right, so
we're better than that, Federation. Come on.
Yeah. So Spock and Decius are bonding over their shared adversity that they're suffering from. Decius tells him he's about to have an escape attempt, and he can use Spock's help. And so we get the fun stuff, the stuff that's very similar to Taste of Armageddon. It's like we'll just, Spock, you can do this thing where you can like tell the security guard mentally, hey, you should look in there and see if something's going on, right? So use some mental tricks and that in a phaser, and they get their way out of they make their escape onto what I believe is the warden's ship. They escape on the warden's ship, and now they're flying to. They escape the pursuing vessels, but they escape to their base, which is called Corsair.
Okay.
And they note and Spock notes that the passage to get to Corsair is similar to that weird binary star system passage to get to the Tamari home planet.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Right. So it turns out that there are Romulan pirates. But there's other pirates at Corsair, including a fellow pirate, and I'm just going to say it right now, Captain Astro. Your thoughts on a pirate named Captain Astro, Rob McCullough?
I mean, it's better than Fuzzy Butt. So
I'll give you that. Listen, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you straight. I'm starting to think that part of me thinks that this novel is at least a little bit a novel for a young adult novel, a little bit. I don't know that for sure, but it feels like it's too violent for that. But Captain Astro is like an interesting.
It's not Tarantino track, that's for sure.
I protect the galaxy from the threat of invasion and from the evil Emperor Zurg. That's it. Buzz Lightyear or something. It sounds like Captain Astro's Buzz Lightyear's like superior officer or something like that.
Captain Astro.
That's fine. Funny. So, and he says best not to get involved with him. Decius says so. Of course, Spock does. And he goes and has dinner with him, and Astro is bathing in stolen goods. He's sitting on a veritable, dragon hoard of treasure and stuff like that. It's a treasury of treasure, as it were. His crew includes a woman from Vega, an Andorian, and a Histite, and a few others. We don't really get details of who these people are, other than the Vegan woman, as large as Vegan women are.
I like that Astro, I hope I'm getting it right, thinks that you can tempt Spock with like a bunch of crap. Hey, wouldn't you like to have a bunch of crap?
Don't you want paintings and stuff too?
Yeah, don't you want pearl necklaces and jewels?
All right, I'm going to say it here. I think I'm going to do my Captain Astro impression. You want to hear me do my Captain Astro impression? This might be too deep of a cut for you, Rob. You let me know. Room here, right around this painting. They probably don't get the Astro.
Very good. That's a Jetsons reference.
Well done. Yes. Okay. We are of the same age. I forgot. That's right.
Jesus.
I forgot. We're not that different in age. That's true. I bet the kids don't have any idea what the hell we're talking about. It's fine.
What are you, 6 months older than me?
Exactly. All right. So join me, and you can be free and rich, and it's not like you can go back to Vulcan anyway. So Spock seems to demur, though he's not going in for it. And then Decius is worried that Spock must either join or die. You can't go repatriate to the Federation and stuff like that, and you can't say no to pirates for too long. So Spock decides he's going to have to fit in. And speaking of fitting, he's going through some stolen goods one time, and he comes across this fantastic fabric. It's like leathery fabric, but it looks like it's on fire. And I'm like, courtesy white phone for Katniss Everdeen, the girl on fire. All right. Did you get that reference? Okay, it's fine.
No, I didn't.
It's Hunger Games, but it's fine.
I still don't get it.
Yeah.
They told me it tonight.
Have you never seen the Hunger Games? It's fine.
I think I saw the first one.
Yeah, they make an outfit for her that looks like they make
having a daughter.
They make an outfit for her, and I think the second one that looks like she's on fire is what it is, or maybe it's the first one. Yeah, so it's that's fine. Yeah, it's a little bit less of a Trek reference. I'll give you that. So, so then there's.
If I'm going to watch Jennifer Lawrence, I'll watch Red Sparrow, not Hunger Games.
She's also a sight to behold in your X-Men movies. I'm just going to point that out.
Okay, that's noted.
Wearing
All
a blue bodysuit, basically, and nothing else. All right,
I'm on board.
So there's a joint Desis Astro raid that gets Desis a new ship, the Talon. It seems like the Talon is just a captured Federation light cruiser of some sort. We're not sure what that is. Spock is kind of being surprised by how much of an affinity he's developing for Desis. It's like a Kirk-like friendship he's developing with Desis.
That is bananas. A Kirk-like friendship. That's too far, Sonny.
Thank you. I'm with you. I was like, that's the thing. I'm kind of feeling like they're going way past the borders of the map here with Spock. And that's the one that's too far, maybe. But we'll see if we can get farther. By the way, we got another ship, the Sackett, and I got this idea. Desis says we're going to repaint them both black and call them both Blackfire. And you're going to pilot one, and I'm going to captain the other, and you're going to captain the one. We'll have two crews, and we'll call them the same ship. They look exactly the same. We'll dress the same with masks on, so nobody will be able to tell the difference. And people will go, how can they be in two places at once? How can a single ship be in two places at once? It'll be like we're duplicates or something like that.
Yeah.
And I will say this, after all the duplicate shenanigans we had in Journey to Bantam and stuff like that, where too many authors ran with that plot point, it's nice to see that somebody's coming up with a real life, we'll just pretend there's two of us, and we use it to as subterfuge, but we're not actually duplicating anybody, right? It's
kind of a fun idea, but it doesn't need to be in the book. I know the point of the book is to have Spock as a pirate.
Yeah. No, but they need to have him as a pirate captain too. And if he's with Desis, he's never going to be the captain. So in order to be a pirate captain, he's going to have his own ship. And this is why they do this, I think. And it's ridiculous. It is.
But it's like this idiotic side quest that has nothing to do with the Tamarians. Yep. And has, whatever.
And then Astro, who's feeling like he used to be the big dog and now he's not anymore. He comes and confronts Spock, and Spock's like, I am quite capable of tearing you in two. If it would be unwise to attack me. So Astro decides to sell him out to the Enterprise instead, to the Federation instead, and he leaks information to help the Enterprise track him down. And the Enterprise is going to get involved, but it's not going to go the way any of them think it is, which is fun. Yeah, so we're in full pirate mode right now, and so this is not the most unbelievable thing that's going to happen in this novel. We're still not there yet. It feels like Spock
were you surprised, because you said you didn't know about this, you didn't remember this book, you hadn't read it. Were you surprised here at this left turn with the pirate angle?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not as bad as the left turn that's coming again in another couple chapters. That's the thing, right? If you're like, well, can you buy him as a pirate to I guess I can't buy him as a pirate. I can buy, especially what pirates are like and how he's definitely not pirate. It's like, we're going to see pretty soon. They're like, hey, we captured a bunch of women. You want to enslave them? He's like, I don't want to enslave them. No, that's not, I don't think that's logical, blah, blah. But so in that way, I think, I get it. He's like, I can be a pirate, but do it the right way. And it's like I have no home to go to anyway, but it still doesn't feel right, but it's going to feel a lot worse here in a minute, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's we're going to be straining the bounds of credulity here pretty soon.
Because they're going to head to Romulus. Turns out Desis is not just a pirate, he's also a subcommander in the Romulan Star Empire. So
I wonder if we're going to run into everybody's favorite guest character.
you know. So that's exactly right. So then they once again hold him responsible. Things go about as they will, because they're going to hold him responsible for the Enterprise incident. And so he comes before a Romulan tribunal. but they end up having some situation come up where they have a reason that they kind of have to offer him like a commission. The Romulans do.
Well, it's funny, Butch, because, for all the shit that season 3 gets, rightfully so, the Enterprise incident obviously struck a chord with a lot of people. And you and I love that episode.
Oh, it's great. Top 5, right?
And Joanne Linville, the Romulan commander, was so awesome. I'm not surprised that there are frequent mentions of her in many of the books. Now, it seems like it's every book.
Yeah.
But she had real chemistry with Leonard Nimoy. So
absolutely, it worked out great. Yeah,
but it feels a little forced here. I don't know that it needs to be in this book. What do you think?
Agreed. But that being said, it's like Sonni Cooper didn't write the other ones, and she's like, "I'm getting the right one. I'm putting her in, right?" And then what are you gonna do with that?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So Spock recalls his relationship with Julina. Now, Julina was. Are we just assuming Julina is deceased, that she never got out of the clutches of the Tamarians?
Oh, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, I got it right here. It doesn't matter, Butch.
They forgot her all about the war. She was the statuesque beauty and stuff like that, and they were talking her up like she was the most beautiful creature in the quadrant and stuff like that. And now we just kind of dump her on the side. It's a bit of culture shock on Romulus. He's introduced to the Romulan commander again, as you mentioned, of course. And then Desus and Spock are still friends, but they're also kind of semi-rivals a little bit now.
Can you imagine, though? You're part of the Romulan Star Command, right? You're back there on Romulus. Yeah. One of the most embarrassing incidents in recent memory has happened, and you've been wanting to. You go to sleep at night counting Spocks that you're going to kill if you ever see him again, and then, he shows up. And the guy's like, "No, he's my pal." Okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's nice that he's your pal and he helped you out. He's still under arrest, and that's what I think would happen. But
yeah, so here's me thinking. Me thinking it's like, no. They're like, no, you don't know what they did to him. They court-martialed him and they kicked him out. and then he ended up at a prison planet and just happened to be hanging around me, Desus, who's a double agent, and it's like it's just random, right? And they're like, yeah. What part of they've done this to us before? Yeah, we thought he was going to switch back when it was me on the ship when we had his ship surrounded in Romulan space, and now you think they're not faking it again? There's no reason the Romulans would trust this. No reason.
No, they're idiots if they fall for this, and they do.
They do. That's right. Yeah. So now we're going to go to Chapter 9, which is Friend and Foe. Chapter 9 is
what was the name of Chapter 8? Are you fucking kidding me?
Chapter 8 was Romulus. They were on Romulus, of course, right? So
it should have been Fool Me Once. That should have been the name of the chapter.
Yes. Scotty gets a job back on the Enterprise. Now a Romulan subcommander, Spock is
well. Butch and Scotty doesn't know why he's back. He's like, I don't know. I was about to
teach class or whatever.
Yeah, I was about to grade papers for as a grad assistant, and next thing I know, I'm back on board, taking the place of Lieutenant Jerkoff that nobody likes or whatever.
Yep. So the Romans have this plan to take down the Tamarians, and it's a good plan, but then the Enterprise arrives and makes things more complicated. They kind of get into a very tense communications where, Spock kind of convinces them all to join forces to wipe out this Tamarian threat because they'll have a better chance to do it. The Romulans have several ships there. They have one. They have cool names of ships like the Moon Dance or whatever. Or maybe that's not. Maybe that might not be a ship. That might actually be a song title. I'm not sure.
Well, it's better than the. I mean, she was her ship naming game wasn't very good early. Where the Klingon ship Force. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Moonhawk, I guess is what it is.
Moonhawk's okay. I mean,
Yeah, but they're fighting against each other while also sizing each other up. The Romulans are. They're fighting with each other. The Enterprise experiences some pylon damage. I don't think I need to tell you what happens when you get pylon damage as a starship. which basically means the little arm that holds the warp engine is bent a little bit. So
Yeah, that's not good.
they've already
Like Ichiro's, like the bat on Ichiro's statue. Did you see that?
I did see that. Ladies and gentlemen, listening at home, Ichiro Suzuki, former Mariner, first ballot Hall of Famer, who was one vote short of being unanimous. He had a statue erected at the field in Seattle yesterday, and as they were pulling the curtain off of the statue, it bent his baseball bat. So he has a bent baseball bat on a statue. It's fine.
Whoops.
I imagine they can fix that. It's cool.
Yeah.
That'd
be like, you have the Evander Holyfield statue and his boxing glove falls off. Like, it's kind of an important part of the statue.
See your doctor if you can't get your bat to stand upright.
I feel you, Ichiro.
That's right.
I'm with you, buddy.
So the battle is going on. I'm just going to say that this battle between the Romulans and the Enterprise versus the Tamarians is one-sided. Right, it's mostly one side. They're fighting hundreds of ships with 3+1. If their fleets were there, it would be over. If the Klingon fleet was there, it'd be way over. I mean, we're finding out that the Tamarians are chinny. That's exactly right. Can't stand the heat. Get out the kitchen. That's right.
Yeah.
But all this being said, the Tamari homeworld, they make an offer for surrender and they relocate you to some better environs that's something that worked for you. Maybe the one over where Corsair over there where that pirate planet was. Maybe that's where we send you. That's a planet that looked a lot like yours.
Seems like this planet you were on was pretty nice.
This apologizing thing, I get used to it. Yeah. So now we're at chapter 10, the neutral zone.
Hey, Butch, where did we have her in the fandom? Of course, we're
one or two. She's one. I think she's one or two.
She's awesome.
If you were, I always would sometimes rank the female guest stars as Federation and non-Federation, and she's either number one.
She's
non-Federation, and Yeoman Barrows, I think, is number one. So
no, the android, what's her face?
Oh yes, Andrea. Yes, that's right.
Those will always be number one for me. But I think this guy, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of this chick, but she's number two. I think for me, she's incredible. What a beauty.
Yes.
What's her name? Her character's name?
Refresh me who the hell we're talking about.
The episode with the Kelvins.
Oh, Kalinda.
By any other name.
Kalinda, that's right.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Isn't that who you were talking about?
Yeah,
are we
talking about the same thing? I forgot. I briefly forgot. We jumped to the Kelvins for a second. I don't have Kelvins.
We haven't watched the episodes in too long.
I don't have Kelvins in my notes. That's why I'm looking through it. I just go, who's he talking about? I forgot.
Well, that just tells me we need to go through the episodes again because we're a little rusty. It's been a couple of years probably since I watched.
It's getting close to time. I feel like we're almost there. All right, here we go. Chapter 10, the neutral zone. Kirk cruises the neutral zone, feeling alone, trying to give Spock an opportunity to refect. I'm not exactly sure what the term is. They receive a Romulan code with the phrase "permission to come aboard." The object emerges from the neutral zone. It's one life form, Romulan. They send some security with Chekhov to arrest the guest. It's Spock. He wants to warn them. He warns them. He lets them in immediately, no waiting. The Romulans are planning on capturing the Enterprise because it turns out he's only slightly loyal still to the Star Empire. So the attack is imminent. So they have to radio the Starfleet that the attack is imminent. They're facing their collapsed pylon, which means they can only travel at warp 5. That's a problem. How are they going to get away?
This is all I didn't. So this part, with Kirk dealing with before the defection, where Kirk's dealing with what's his name? Is it Desus?
Yes.
And subcommander Spock. Nobody's buying that. No, I mean, I could barely picture it. I mean, the author was trying to sell us on the fact that, Kirk's really conflicted about it and it's killing him to see his pal working for the enemy. Nobody's buying this shit. No one is. So the novel for me is like the orbit is decaying, start off strong, but we're starting to hurtle towards the planet. I don't know. What do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're really getting down to it. I mean,
I'm like, wrap it up. This is where I'm already thinking, all right, let's wrap this shit up. Yeah. You're losing the plot here.
So it's like he's pirate. Is he Romulan? Is he neither? He turns out he's come back to the Enterprise with a bunch of data on the Moonhawk, which is that new Romulan cruiser to share. Kirk concludes that Spock was not a traitor after all. Thank goodness. He has been on special assignment since he and Scotty left. Does that mean that that's what they say he has been, or did the Commodores know all along that he was on special assignment?
I think they knew all along, because remember, everybody thought, they made mention a couple times of like, gee, it seems like they were pretty harsh at Spock's hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly. So what we're learning now at the end is everything we were sold on about the all the stuff Spock went through, other than the fact that he was injured while he was doing it, was bullshit. Right? Yeah. That I will say, at least that makes more sense than him actually considering joining the Romulan Star Empire.
And the pirate thing was just a fun happenstance, fortuitous little bit of nonsense. Like, oh, as a bonus, we got to learn about these pirates and whatever.
Captain Astro, I'm just saying. So anyway, anyway, he still has, by the way, the Blackfire earring, a gift from Blackfire, as the pirate flourish. So that's fun. Does he still have the earring? In their next episode, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, so
and we get the fun little. Oh, hey Spock, could you sign this book of romantic poetry about you? From Dr. McCoy. That was funny.
Yes, so all told, it's time to rank this. This is our 25th novel. And we're halfway through the list now of our first 50 that we're going to do. So we took up the task of doing the first 50 Pocket Trek novels, and we are halfway through with the end of this episode.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I will say that we are at least somewhat prepared that if we finish the next 25, we finish the top 50, we will continue onwards. There's still 48 more. There's 98 total pocket novels, TOS numbered Star Trek novels. It goes 1 to 98. So
wow.
Something to hold on to if we make it through, which maybe we will. Hopefully, stick with us, fans. But where do you then rank this novel out of our 25? Do you have a ranking somewhere?
I don't have I both got we were ranked them. I like it. It's probably in the middle. I mean, I think the first part of the novel is interesting. And I'm a little nostalgic about it because I remember, I was probably, I don't think I read it right when it came out, but I was probably 14 or 15 when I read it a year or two later.
Right.
And, I remember thinking, oh, wow, Spock's a pirate. Oh, not in the same way that the author was jazzed about it. But I thought it was fun. I wish we could have had some Kirk and some Bones and, our crew and whatever. It's extremely Spock-centric.
It's very Spock-centric, which is okay, and it makes sense from a lot of perspectives. I will say, I thought their MacGuffin villain was a little weak. They were different and interesting, I guess. Sort of different and sort of interesting, but they were not the threat that they were made out to be. It's a Romulan episode, but it's not as most of the top of my list is Romulan episodes, and this does not warrant being at the top of my list. So like My Enemy, My Ally, The Romulan Way, Web of the Romulans, Killing Time, all Romulan novels are my top 4.
Yeah, let me see. While you're talking, I will actually look in my binder here and see if I have them. How many I've ranked? I might have them all ranked.
So at 20. So after 25, I ended up putting Blackfire at 15. So 15, right below the Prometheus design, and right above the Wounded Sky. I would say that the 3 columns I have now. The middle column is not too bad. Crisis in Centaurus is at the top of my middle column, along with the Idic epidemic, and then my final column is the one where I have the bottom ones, or Chain of Attack and the Klingon Gambit and the Final Reflection, which and stuff like that. And there's some that I think because we did them so early, it might be unfairly down there. I don't know if the Corona or the 3-Minute Universe deserve to be at the bottom of my list, but they're near the bottom of the list. But that's the thing. The fun thing when one sets out to do something like this and force rank things.
I do have them ranked.
Oh, good. Well, where do you want to put this then?
Let's say. Oh, so maybe not as high as halfway. I don't know. Maybe right after the Wounded Sky, and
that's interesting. It's right where I have it. I have right before the Wounded Sky. You would have right after. That's pretty close.
Yeah, let me see. Blackfire. So I'm with you. I have the Romulan Way at number 1, My Enemy and My Ally at number 2, Time for Yesterday at 3, Ishmael at 4, Prometheus Design. So now down towards the bottom, I had, I think I have Star Trek 3 last.
Yeah. Doctor's Orders down there somewhere.
I've got Memory Prime is down there, Double, the Klingon Gambit, which was fun but incomprehensible with your little pyramids and shit I can't pronounce in my head. But I remember liking so basically everything above Blackfire I like. I like the Wounded Sky. I like the Final Reflection. I like Deep Domain. You know, there's stuff about them all I like. Those top ones are real good though. I would say even from Crisis on Centaurus up at 7, I think are all real strong. The IDIC epidemic. So, yeah, there's good stuff because basically I'm saying I like about 80% of them quite a bit.
Well, there you go. You know what we're at right now. We're at the time where it's time to roll our next novel, right?
Yeah, let the dice speak.
So now we have used up half of the novels that are on our list. We have a lot of them left that are memorable that I remember, some that I don't remember at all. But we'll see what the dice say. We're going to roll the dice. The dice will tell us which of the tenths they're in, and then which of the ones in the 1 to 10 of that we'll get to. So here we go. Let's see. We are in the last 10 books, so 41 to 50. We are in, it looks like 49 is the next novel. 49 is the next novel. That is The Pandora Principle.
The Pandora Principle.
Not like the principal of the school, but the concept of Pandora. The Pandora Principle will be number 26.
And Pandora, of course, had, Pandora's box, so who knows what we're opening up a can of worms, it sounds like.
It could be a can of worms, it could be a can of gold, it could be a can of corn. We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. So next time you log on and find our next episode, it'll be number 26, and it'll be The Pandora Principle, the Star Trek novel.
It'll probably be summer before I get another book done. I don't have any visits to in-laws I can justify in order to get some reading.
That's exactly right. Sometimes we really get our work done in the summer months. Well, we're getting close to the warm months, so we'll see. But either way, stick with us, fearless listener, reader, and we will continue bringing you more Pocket Treks here on the Cinema Color Podcast.